Hello and welcome to Storyteller Tarot. Today's book highlight is Calaspia by A.D. McLain. Faith. It's a small word, but real faith isn't always easy to come by. The smallest things can challenge our faith. For Eric, faith was an everyday part of life. It was woven into the very fabric of his people, but faith, when untested for too long, can become complacent and weak. Nancy felt the test of her faith daily. She believed in the inherent goodness of the world, but it is difficult to stay optimistic when every day is a challenge just to breathe. Through time and different worlds, they must find their strength and their faith in each other, and in a power higher than themselves. But can they unlock the lives they were always destined for? If you'd like to hear more about Calaspia, stay tuned to the end of the video for a short excerpt. Okay, welcome to Storyteller Tarot, and today's signifier card is the Warg, number 24. Now, the Warg is a creature from Norse mythology. It is often associated with Loki, Hela, Odin. With Loki, it's sometimes told to be his offspring. They're companions of Hela, they're companions of Odin, associated with chaos, creativity, power. Wargs were a key component of Ragnarok, had the ability to swallow up celestial bodies, such as the moon and the sun. They represent cunning and wisdom, like Odin, and the creativity and cunning of Loki, and can be a symbol for the untamed elements of nature and how we have to be able to adjust to those chaotic elements, those dark elements, and use our instincts to overcome. So we have the Warg right there. Put it over here to the side. And let's get started with some other cards here. Now, we've got the Bird's Whisper. The Bird's Whisper. Listen closely to the whisper of the birds. There lies a gentle reminder that every little thing will be all right. Right there. So when you have the chaos going on in the world, the birds whisper that it's going to be all right. We're going to get through that chaos. Divine doorways here. We've got the bigger picture. Go to the next level to get greater perspective, higher ground. Your perspective on what's going on with the chaos, perhaps. Get that perspective to know that everything is going to be all right, to get that wisdom. The Crow. Transition, rebirth, change, getting signs from spirit, connecting to your higher self. So that's another card that makes us think here of intuition, your higher self, the higher perspective, getting that wisdom, getting the knowledge, also knowing that things are going to be all right, connecting there to spirit, rebirth and change. We've got ambition, high ideals, realistic goals, reaching objectives, okay? So we've got objectives that we're going to reach. And the witch hare. Cross the threshold. Leap the hedge. Go over the wall. Okay, so we've got boundaries here. We've got thresholds. We've got the hedge. We've got walls. And the hare is jumping over all those obstacles, finding ways to get around them, not being constrained by the restrictions. Now let's take a look at some tarot cards to see if we can get a little clarification on all of this. Now the first card that we pulled today here was the Five of Hunters. The Five of Hunters here in the Wild Wolf Tarot is about resource. The forest begins to feel smaller and smaller to the hunters as they search for miles, only finding a few small animals to bring home. Every wolf, no matter how skilled or wild, experiences a challenging day. There are times when having little to offer to the pack can be worrisome for the hunter, especially when they feel everyone relies on them to succeed. However, the hunter cannot keep this mindset, as it is not true. The most important resource to a pack is not one wolf, but the whole. They must connect to this resource, which makes them feel rooted and present. So the hunter has to deal with the chaos of nature, the unpredictability of it, how things can not be available sometimes, but they are the ones that the pack relies on. But they need to understand that it doesn't just rely on them, but the whole pack. They need to get that higher perspective of the bigger picture, that the pack as a whole works together, and to hear the bird's wisdom, that things will be better, that it's not true that they will be in this lack of resources. They need to get the inspiration here from Spirit to know that things will be better. And we've also got the goal here, the realistic goals, reaching your objectives. Their objectives are to feed the pack, but they have to overcome the obstacles. Now, the next card here that we had was the Pup of Caretakers. Now, the Pup of Caretakers is a playful card. The Pup of Caretakers is about creativity, okay? So the creativity is a lot like the hare over there, jumping over the walls, jumping over the obstacles, finding creative solutions to your problems. Now let's see what it says here specifically about this card. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, the Pup of Caretakers is in their full playful position. Their inner child is ready to explore the wild world, filled with deep green forests of curiosity and blue sparkling rivers of possibility. How do you leave your creative mark in the community? How do you spread and share your love? Be inspired by the young pup and use the message sent by your ancestors to play and practice your gifts. Place your paws outside the box. So you're thinking outside the box, outside the constraints. You're being creative, coming up with new solutions. Now, we also here had the 6 and the 7 of Hunters. Let's see what those two had to say. The 6 of Hunters is cause. When there's scarcity in the valley, okay, which we saw here with the 5, the most beautiful shift happens. Hunters among every pack in the forest join together to share their bounty. They give and receive in a meaningful way. Balance is restored to the forest when this kind of energy is moving. There's a greater cause out there. Find which one you align with and see what you might be able to offer, while also remaining open to receiving. Give to others without the need for anything in return. This selfless exchange will come back to you one day in powerful and unexpected ways. And the 7 here is investment. Okay? The hunters watch and plan for the seasons carefully. Wolves learn to be precise and patient. This is how they use their life force so delicately. They know a hunt is not an easy feat, but a careful investment of energy made for a valuable reward. Just like a butterfly, the cocoon prepares this creature for when the universe is ripe and ready. The hunters are very graceful when it comes to dancing with divine timing. No doubt you and your intentions are growing. Enjoy the journey and watch as your investment turns into harvest. So you've got the transition, the change, the rebirth, just like the crow here. You've got learning, the wisdom, the intuition here, and getting your higher perspective, the bigger picture, learning that things are going to be okay, and that there's divine timing. You've got things are going to come, and it's going to change. Things are going to get better. You're going to get through that chaos. You're going to get through the chaos of nature, and you're going to get through the harsh times, the times of lack. And the final card we've got here is the Alpha of Watchers. That's our final tarot card. The Alpha of Watchers is elder wisdom, highly revered for their wisdom and way of being. The Alpha of Watchers leads with a truthful yet powerful disposition. A wolf needs to have both physical and mental strength to lead a pack. The Alpha has reached its peak of mental clarity using the elements of the air and wind to learn the wisdom of the forest, yet is humble enough to remain curious, like our pup over here. Okay, and we've got the curiosity just like the rabbit and the pup. So it remains curious. And the alpha of watchers understands the need for reason, mastering the balance between impulse and instinct. So the alpha knows how to balance that creativity with the instincts, with the wisdom that you're getting from the higher perspective. Your soul's wisdom is ready to be utilized. Dive within to reveal the wisdom of your wounds and share the knowledge with the world surrounding you. Very good. Okay, we've got a couple more cards here. We've got from the Lenormand deck, we've got the House, which is card number 4. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7. Interesting. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the House here is going to represent family. It's going to be a sense of security. Okay, so when you're in that time of lack, you're really looking for that sense of security. Spending time with your family. Okay, the Wolves cards, they're talking about the pack, about banding together, how you are not just the lone wolf. You have the whole group that's helping you, that's sharing the resources to get you through the chaos. So the House is talking about the security, family, sincere conversations, feasting, okay, that's, so we've gone through the lack and we've made it to the feast. Acquisition of a home or property or a place to live, inheritance, expansion plans. It can mean abundance in those areas, abundance in your family, and the stability, understanding, and just being able to have that stability of a home, of a place where you live, where you have what you need, where you don't have the scarcity. And last card here is from the Oracle of Pluto. And we've got the Okapi. The Okapi is about a fated meeting, event, or situation, higher meaning behind everything. So we've got the connecting to your higher self, greater perspective, higher meaning. Okay, so the Okapi is a unique creature. It partially resembles a zebra, but it's most closely related to the giraffe. And it's indigenous to parts of the Congo. In many ways, the existence of the Okapi seems unlikely, and yet an unknowable number of things align to make its existence so. The presence of the Okapi may speak to something that feels much the same, and begs the question of fate, whether in a meeting or a situation. So something that seems unlikely, but happens anyway. So I guess right here, when you're in the scarcity, it seems unlikely that you would get out of it, but it's fate that you're going to get through it and get to the prosperity. To draw the Okapi is a sign that something bigger than you is at play. The way things have aligned across time and space to bring you to this moment where everything is falling into place may feel surreal. Moments in our lives where we can see destiny unfolding in front of our eyes are few and far between. There is a deep knowing in our bones that recognizes this pleasant twist of fate, and that same knowing asks us to drink in as much as we can stand, because there is something crucial to be harnessed and learned. Keep in mind that when destiny turns the wheel, it may not always feel pleasant, though it certainly feels big. Sometimes, when everything is aligning to put us on our higher path, got the higher path, talking to the higher self, connecting with your higher self, getting aligned with spirit here. When you're getting aligned, when you're connecting with that higher path, seeing the bigger picture, it says here, it can be extremely difficult. This too requires a certain trust in the way that things are unfolding, even if we don't fully understand why. Look to the higher meaning behind this moment. Much is being revealed. So just like here in the scarcity, you have to look at the bigger picture. Focus on the group, the family, knowing that you're not alone. You've got spirit, you've got your higher self, you've got help from above, help from a higher source, a higher power, fate coming into play to make sure that you achieve your goals, you reach your objectives, you get the stability. So we've got struggle, chaos, things outside your control, things that are happening to you, things that are happening around you, setting up obstacles. But you use that creativity. You don't let it get you down. You see the obstacles. And even though there's scarcity, even though there's lack, even though it's scary, you know that you can use the creativity. You can jump over it. You can pull in that youthful exuberance and faith and hope. And you can see the bigger picture, ask for help, find all of the ways, talk to your higher self, and you can get through because you're fated to get to your stability. You're fated to get to that transition, to get to the end, to know that everything will be all right. I hope you got something out of today's reading. If you're interested in hearing a short excerpt from the book Calaspia by A.D. McLain, just stick around and we'll be doing that next. And now it's time for a short excerpt from Calaspia by A.D. McLain. Eric flew low to avoid the strong crosswinds near the caves. Sure enough, he could hear his brother inside yelling with excitement. The caves were a popular spot for young hawks. They tested their skills and courage by dropping into the cave from above, circling down and flying back out the opening. It sounded easy. It was anything but easy. The caves were narrow, so there wasn't a lot of room for larger wingspans to spread. This meant only younger, less experienced flyers could attempt it. Add to that the strong wind currents that swirled within and around the caves, and you had a very dangerous place to fly. But that didn't stop headstrong hawks like his brother, who were drawn to the danger, excitement, and the magnetic fields produced by the minerals in the cave rocks. Walking carefully up to the opening, Eric looked in and called out to his brother. Most of his words were drowned out by loud winds, but Ephraim felt his presence and looked up. "Come on in," he said aloud and telepathically. Eric shook his head and motioned for Ephraim to come out. Circling around, he soared from the roof of the cave, landing gracefully next to Eric. "What's up?" "Mom wants us both home. Solstice is about to start." Ephraim nodded. "All right, after this last jump." Before Eric could stop him, Ephraim took a step back and fell into the cave again. He shook his head. Standing and waiting, he watched his brother circle a few times, fly up and swoop to circle some more. "Come on," he prodded telepathically. Ephraim gazed up and sighed, nodding. Circling for momentum, he started his ascent. His form was perfect. Suddenly, a gust of wind caught him off guard, knocking Ephraim into the side of the wall. His wing crumpled from the impact, and he fell, hitting several jutting rocks on the way down to the bottom of the cave. Eric watched helplessly as blood began to pool on the cave floor around his body and head. "Ephraim!" he yelled. His brother moaned and shifted, but his eyes remained closed. Anxious, Eric's eyes darted around. There was no way down in the cave floor and back except through the flight, and his wingspan was too wide for the cave. He could get help, but Ephraim might not have that long. He had to get him out and take him to a healer immediately. Eyeing the dimensions of the cave, he thought he might manage it if he got enough momentum to fly up before he pulled in his wings. It was a long shot, but he had to try. If he didn't, his brother could die. Taking a deep breath, he prepared to jump in, but pulsing energy shot through him, staggering him and leaving him dizzy. He looked around in confusion. His surroundings were strange, the colors different than they'd been a moment before. He peered at his arms and hands. His skin tingled and glowed. Turning in the direction of the village center, he saw the entire area covered with a similar glow. Solstice. "No, no, no, no," he repeated. He was caught in solstice. Those selected for solstice found themselves pulled from the regular time phase until they'd found their mate and completed the joining. Then they phased back into time with everyone else. He heard it described many times for many people over his lifetime. Some found that a single hour out of phase was only moments in regular time. Others found time passed slower here. Every mated pair phased at a different interval or speed, and the only person that he would be able to interact with until he came back would be his mate. He looked back into the cave and saw a shimmering outline of his brother's life energy. With a tremendous amount of effort, he stepped back. He couldn't help him until this was done. He just prayed his phase was faster than regular time. If he was lucky, he could return with little time actually having passed here. Either way, he had no choice. He would find his mate, complete the joining, and come back to save his brother. No problem. Taking another deep breath, he put a hand to his chest and felt the pulse of his energy. Once his breathing was in sync with the energy, he felt it shoot forth and travel outward to the area of the last Earth portal. Eric groaned. This had gotten a lot more complicated. Hope you enjoyed that excerpt of Calaspia by A.D. McLain. So have a good day, and remember, be the you God sees.